Hello all, welcome to the second session of the lecture series on SS and IS, that is soft skills and interpersonal skills. So today we are going to do the second topic of Unit 1, which is listening skills A, that is uh, listening, definition of listening and the types of listening that we know about. Alright, so yeah, let us get into it. So as you all know that we have five sense organs, and among that ear is one of the most one of the most important sense organs among all the sense organs that we have, right? Uh, now, of course, since you have or you have a ear or you are given a ear, uh, it entails that that you will be having the faculty of hearing. Okay. Now, of course, if you have a ear, you will be able to hear. Now, the stage which comes after hearing is something that we know as listening. Now, there is a distinction between hearing and listening. These two are not the same, even though they are similar. All right. So, when we talk about hearing, what we mean is that I will give you an example. Now, as you know that we hear, various different sounds throughout the day, which are carried to us through the air which is present around us. Okay, but our brain or we do not register all of these sounds. I mean, of course, we are able to hear them because we have ear, but it does not necessarily mean that we will be registering each and every sound that we hear, or rather, it does not necessarily mean that those sounds will stay with us for a longer period of time. Alright? So hearing means you do it by default because you have a ear, right? Now, what happens is that uh, when we hear something very intently, or when we hear something with full concentration in order to serve a particular purpose, then that is referred to as listening. So hearing with an intention in your mind and hearing in order to serve a particular purpose that you have, or hearing with full concentration, that is you are listening to each and every word that is said to you, that is referred to as listening. That you are not hearing for the sake of it just because you have ears. You are hearing because you want to hear and you want to retain that information, and you want that information to impact you in a certain manner. Alright, so that is called listening, or that is referred to as listening. Now there are various types and kinds of listening that we you know that we have. Now let us get into the types of listening. Okay, now the first type of listening is appreciative listening. Now listening this is a kind of a listening behavior, where the listener searches for some information or element in order to be able to appreciate it. So you are listening to something just for the purpose of appreciation, just because you want to appreciate it. Alright? That is the reason why you are listening. So basically, you are listening for entertainment, or you are listening for enjoyment, not necessarily entertainment all the time, but you are listening for your own personal delight, and you are listening for your own personal enlightenment, enjoyment. All right. So this is called appreciative listening. Now we have an example of this. Now when you listen to your favorite song, okay, that is when you do appreciative listening, because you're listening to your favorite song because you want to appreciate that song. Okay, that is called appreciative listening. Now, the next type of listening that we have is empathetic listening. Now, what does this mean? This kind of listening is, people oriented, where the emphasis is on the speaker, and you are listening to the speaker in order to understand his point of view, and you want to identify with his position. You want to understand the speaker, you want to understand his point of view, you want to find out how you would would feel if you were in his shoes. Alright? So that is what empathetic listening is. So you do this kind of listening when you want to understand a speaker and his point of view and his position. Now, what is, what kind of example can we cite for this? When you listen to someone's issues or problems in life, you know, and you kind of place yourself in that person's position so that you are able to comfort that person and you're able to, instill some hope in that person, telling him or her that, it is going to be fine. So this is an example of empathetic listening. Now, the next kind of listening that we have is comprehensive or active listening. Now, this kind of listening involves making sense of the message which is being listened to. So, basically, you are listening in order to understand something, you are listening in order to make sense of something, you are listening in order to gain knowledge, you are listening in order to understand, and you are listening in order to, make sense of whatever is being said to you or whatever is being delivered. All right. Now, what kind of an example does this particular, type of listening require? Example is when you listen to the lecture delivered by your professor in class. When your professor is, is trying to make you understand a particular concept through lecture, when he is lecturing in class, that is when you do, comprehensive or active listening, because you want to make sense of that lecture, because you want to, make sense of that concept, you want to understand that concept, and you want to have, command over the concept. This is called comprehensive or active listening. All right. Now the next kind of listening that we have is critical listening. Now, this kind of listening occurs when one listens for the sake of analyzing, critiquing, and making judgments about the speaker or the message. Alright? So, basically, this is the level that comes after, just understanding the concept. This is critical listening, and critical listening means that you have understood the concept, but now you want to analyze and you want to view the concept with a critical bent of mind. All right. So this is called, your critical listening. Now, what kind of example can we cite for this? Now, as you know, that the elections are, kind of knocking at our door. It's next month. So the candidates who are contesting the elections, they have many things to say. They have many things to contribute. And when they are, speaking on a public platform, what you do is that you listen to them. You listen to the candidate. You understand what that candidate is trying to say. You understand what that candidate is trying to mean. You try to, look for loopholes in whatever he is saying. You analyze that what is it that is actually going to bring you, what is it that is actually going to bring you on a stage, what are the facilities and what are the benefits that he will be offering, that he can offer. So basically you read in between the lines that is being spoken to you. Okay. So this is called, analytical and analytical or critical listening, where you kind of analyze something. After understanding, you analyze something and you kind of break it and you dissect it, whatever is being said. All right. So these are the four kinds of or types of listening that we have. Now we come to something very important, which is, importance of listening in academic or professional communication. Okay. So what is the importance of listening in an academic or in a professional space? Okay. The first thing that we have is you know the organization. Okay. So listening helps you in knowing the organization. So suppose you are recruited by a company, and on the very first day you have your orientation session, you know, where you are being told about the company, you are being told about the motives and objectives of the company, and you are also, told about the expectations, you know, which the company has from you. So this listening to all these, things, all these points helps you in understanding or helps you to develop a better understanding of the, organization that you are going to be or you are a part of. Okay. the next is to address the grievances of some employees. Now, listening here becomes very important now in order to now when you are a part of an organization. Of course, there will be certain perks, and also there will be certain things that perhaps you would not be okay with. And here, what happens is that when you communicate in an upward level, when you communicate to the higher authorities, the higher authorities has to or have to listen to you in order to understand your grievances and in order to address your problems and in order to address your grievances. Alright? So listening here becomes very important. Listening to your grievances in order to solve your problem is something that is also required in an organization, in a workspace. Formulating better policies. Now there are certain policies that uh, that the employees might not be okay with, and after listening to the employees, the CEO decides that okay, I'm going to change this particular policy, and uh, I'm going to make or formulate a better policy within my organization in order for it to function effectively. All right. Then we have forming a bond. Okay. Sorry. Then you have increasing confidence. So the more you listen, the more confident you are, because the more you listen, the more knowledge and perspective it is that you gain from the world outside and from the world at large. All right. Then comes forming a bond. All right. So when you have other people or other members in the organization along with you, you form a particular bond with those people in the organization, and it may be through professional communication, or bond may be occurs through personal communication. So listening to each other, listening to one another, listening to your teammates, okay, helps you form a bond with them, and it also in turn helps you in your work. Okay. Now, boosting productivity. So the more you listen, the more your productivity is boosted. The more you listen to the inspirational talks given to you by the CEO of that company, the more boosted and inspired you become to you know work well, to work towards a betterment of yourself and for the company and of the company. Okay. Then we have spotting sensitive areas. Now, suppose there are certain areas which in your task, which you have ignored because you had other things about the task to worry about. Now, when you listen to your manager, or when you listen to whatever your manager has to say, that you have not, this particular thing has been ignored, then you know about the sensitive areas and the sensitive spots. So listening to your manager about certain loopholes in your task also helps you in identify the sensitive spots and fixing them, and also helps you improve. All right. Now we come to the open door strategy. So what happens is that in various organizations, the CEO leaves the door open for employees to come and tell them about their problems and about their suggestions and all of these things, and the CEO would be open to all of those. CEO would be open to uh, all those you know, to all those suggestions and to all those grievances. So this listening to your employees through open door strategy helps you again in improving the functioning of your organization and helps you in the effective functioning of your organization. Okay, so this is what we learned today: listening skills, definition, types, and the importance of listening skills in workspace or in academic space. So with this, we come to the end of the lecture for today. In the next session, we will take up listening skills 3, where we talk about listening to videos and audios and all of these things. Okay. So thank you for listening.